Good afternoon. Today we will be doing section 3.2, comparing and ordering decimals. Now before we begin, we need to look at the three symbols we'll be using to compare decimals. Excuse me. This first symbol represents less than, and what that means is that the number to the left is less than the number to the right. So we actually read that from left to right. So for example, 7 is less than 8. Okay, this is the greater than symbol, and once again we're reading it from left to right. And then we have our equal to symbol. So some tips when comparing decimals would be to first line up the decimals. Okay, and when we say line up the decimal points need to be one on top of the other. You're not going to start with the first number and line it up underneath the first number, because sometimes that won't work. Okay, so one decimal over the other, then fill in your numbers. Then you're going to start with the greatest place value furthest to the left and find the first set of digits that are different. So we have two numbers here, 3 and 451 thousandths and 3 and 470 thousandths. Okay, you'll notice that the 3's are the same. So since they are equal, we're going to keep moving. We're going to go to the 10th spot. And I have two 4's. They are the same. So we're going to go to the 100th spot. Now I have a 5 and a 7. The 7 is larger. So I'm done. I stop. I know that 7 is larger than 5. Now the reason that I stop is that because if I keep going, now I have a 1 and a 0. Well, what's bigger? The 1, but that doesn't matter anymore. Okay? Because the hundredths value is larger than the thousandths value. All right, so the hundredths value is going to have more weight. That means the bigger number is going to take over for the thousandths. Okay, so when I compare the two digits, after I compare the two digits that are different, I stop. So 5 is less than 7. So 3 and 451 thousandths is less than 3 and 470 thousandths. And once again, it's because the first place value I have is the thousandths place, and the 7 is larger than the 5. Okay? Now lining up the decimals is going to make things a lot more helpful for you, so hopefully you'll take advantage of that. Okay, we're going to do a few examples here. So we're going to compare using, this is once again the less than symbol, greater than, or equal to compare each set of numbers. Okay, I'm going to start with A. So I have 0.2, and like I said, I'm lining up the decimals. So here's my other decimal, and the 2 goes in front, and the 0 behind. Okay, so I'm going to start with the largest place value of a 0 and a 2, and now I stop, because why? Because the 2 is larger than the 0, meaning that 2/10 is smaller than or less than 2 and 0/10. Okay, so this is going to be a less than symbol. And if you remember from grade school, I always talk about the alligator eating the bigger number. So it's going to eat my 2.0 because it's bigger than my 2/10. Okay, now the next one, I have 3 and 3/10 over 3 and 30 hundredths. So once again, I'm going to compare. So these are the same. Go to the next. These are the same. And now I have a 0 and a nothing. Okay, but does it change the value if I put a 0 here? No, it does not. Okay, so this 0 and that nothing represent the same thing. They represent 0. This 0 is just a place value holder. Okay, so because all of my numbers are the same, I'm going to put an equal to sign. 3 and 3/10 is equal to 3 and 30 hundredths. Okay, now I have my next one. 204 thousandths compared to 214 thousandths. So once again, I'm going to start on my far left. They're the same, and now I have two different numbers. And once again, when I have two different numbers, I take the largest one, and that's going to tell me that this number that I have circled is bigger than my 0. And once again, we stop because the two 4's are the same. But does that mean it's equal? No, because they have a different hundredth spot. So once again, this is going to be a less than sign because the 2 and 14 thousandths is larger, so the alligator's going to eat the 2 and 14 thousandths. Now I have my last one, and once again, I'm going to line them up. And you'll notice that a lot of these numbers look very similar to one another, and that's the point. They're trying to trick you. So I lined up my decimal. I'm going to start furthest to the left, so I have 7 and 7. That's the same. 1 and 0, and I stop because the 1 is bigger than the 0. Okay, so the 7 and 107 thousandths is larger than the 7 and 11 thousandths. So I'm going to put my greater than sign. 7 and 107 thousandths is greater than 7 and 11 thousandths. Okay, so that's how we compare. Now we're going to write each set of numbers in order from least to greatest. Now the same process as before. We're going to line up the numbers, we're going to compare them, and as we find our smallest number, we're just going to put it out first. Okay, so I have 16, and if it's just a whole number, the decimal point is behind it. Then I have 16 and 200ths, 16 and 2/10ths, and 15 and 99 hundredths. Now you'll notice that I have a lot of blank spots. If you want to add zeros and all those blank spots, we just use those as place value holders. It's not going to change it. So now all of my numbers have 2 decimal places behind them. Okay, so same as before, but now we're comparing all of the numbers. So I have all ones. But the next number I have is a 6, 6, 6, and 5. So that means that the 5 is going to be my smallest number, and since I'm going from least to greatest, I'm going to put my 5 first. So 15 and 99 hundredths is my smallest number. Now I'm going to take that out. I don't need it anymore. I've already placed it. Now I go to the next number. Since these are all the same, I have a 0, a 0, and a 2. Well, the 2 is the largest number. Okay, that's my biggest number here. So that means this is the largest number in my set. So I'm going to leave 2 more spaces and then put my 16 and 2/10ths at the end. And now I'm going to compare these two. So I have a 0 and a 0. They're the same. Then I have a 0 and a 2, which means the 2 is the largest. So 16 is going to be my next smallest number, followed by 16 and 200ths. Okay, so lining them up does really help you figure out the correct place value, all right, and what shows you very easily the values that are larger or smaller. So I'm going to do the same thing for B. I'm going to line them up. 5 and 545 thousandths, 4 and 45 hundredths, 4 and 9,945 10,000ths, and 5 and 6/10ths. And once again, feel free to fill in these blank spots so everyone has a number. Okay, so I'm going to start with my ones digit. I have a 5, a 4, a 4, and a 5. Well, immediately I can see that I need to compare just these two for now to find out what my smallest number is. Okay, so the next one I'm going to go in, I have a 4 and a 9. Well, 9 is larger, so that means that 4 and 45, in this case, since I put my zeros, 10,000ths, is going to be my smallest number. So I'm going to write out 4 and 45 hundredths. That's right there, and I've used that one up. Meaning the next one has to be 4 and 9,945 10,000ths. Has to be the next one because those are the two that begin with 4s. So I'm done with those two. Now I compare my 5. So I have 5 and 5, and then I have 5 and 6. The 6 is larger, so my next smallest number will be 5 and 545 thousandths. That's how it's written up here. You can cross that off. And my largest number is 5 and 6/10ths. Now if you want to leave all these zeros in there when you write out from least to greatest, that's fine as well. That's not going to make a difference in your answer. Okay? In our last set, we're going to go from greatest to least now. Okay? Same process. So we're going to line up the decimal points. So 32 and 32 hundredths, 32 and 32 thousandths, 32 and 302 thousandths, and 3 and 99 hundredths. Now, for me personally, even though it's from greatest to least, it's easier for me to start with the smallest number and then work backwards. Okay, so I'm going to fill in my zeros in any of the blank spots. Okay, first number I'm comparing, I have a 3, a 3, a 3, and a 0. Immediately, I know that this is going to be my smallest number. So since I'm going from greatest to least, I'm putting it all the way at the end. Okay, so I've already used this number up. I got it out of my list. Okay, so now I have a 2, a 2, and a 2, so those are all the same again. Then 3, 0, 3. Now this 0 is my flag. This is smaller than these two numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. So 32 and 32 thousandths is my next smallest number. And once again, this is greatest to least. That's why I'm working backwards. So it's larger than 3 and 99 hundredths, but smaller than these other two numbers that I have here. So I'm going to keep going. So my 3's were the same. Now I have a 2 and a 0. Well, the 2 rings a bell as being larger than 0, so that's my largest number in my set. So 32 and 32 hundredths is larger than 32 and 302 thousandths. Okay, so once again, by lining them up, it just makes it a little bit easier to determine their place value and which numbers are bigger or smaller. Okay? Well, hopefully that's helpful to you. Once again, always feel free to pause, rewind, look over different parts again. If you have any questions, make sure you ask us during class tomorrow. Have a good night.